That's a bit of a strong statement to make. I know that other people would not necessarily agree with that. Hi, my name is Mona. I'm the founder of Mona Juliet, which is an Australian fashion label for women 5'4" and under, and we specialize in premium quality work and office attire.
Amazing. And how did Mona Juliet start?
Yeah, so I'm actually a law grad. So I graduated from law school last year, and I found that in my early days of my legal studies, whether it was getting legal experience and like going out for interviews, getting jobs, or if it was, having to do oral assessments where I had to like present in front of everyone, I found that when I would go shopping to like find myself a nice suit or something, I couldn't find anything which was like of the quality that I wanted, which came in a beautiful array of designs, like even fit my frame properly. And like I would look at the petite sections of bigger fast fashion brands like ASOS or like Banana Republic or something like that. I would order some what I thought would be nice looking suits and nice office dresses, and I would order them. They would come be delivered to me and I would try them on, and I just thought that they looked really bad. I thought that they weren't nice at all. They didn't fit me properly. They were really bad quality, which I think I should have thought about that earlier before buying like a $100 suit. It made me feel sad that there wasn't really a lot of nice options out there for petite ladies. And I knew it wasn't just me. Like there are a lot of colleagues, friends that I had in law school who were about my height. I'm 4'10", by the way. I should have mentioned that at the start. That also had the same difficulties in curating the work wardrobe. So the idea came to me in maybe my first or second year of law school. And it was kind of just a thought at the back of my mind. Maybe a year or two went by and it kept coming back to me, and I thought, you know what, if I can tackle this myself, I'm just going to research it. I'm going to see what my research tells me. I'm going to see if there's any brands that I've been missing that actually exist that give me what I've been looking for. And if I can't find it, then I'm going to see if I can just make it myself. I did my research. I couldn't find anything that offered what I would have liked to have bought for myself. The rest is history.
That's an amazing story. I do agree with the fact that, suits, even slacks, like I have so many pairs of slacks that don't fit me correctly. They just need always, no matter the size, how small. I'm 4'11", so I know exactly what you're saying. So I think that's an amazing sector that we're missing. And so thank you for filling that gap. But when you were starting out, have any doubts? And if so, what were they?
I didn't have any doubts about the actual gap in the market, like whether it needed to be filled or not. I was pretty confident that this type of clothing is missing and the quality of clothing is missing, that like someone needs to fill it if it's not me. When the idea came to me, I was quite young. I was like 20 or 21 or something. So yeah, I think like the natural insecurities of starting a business definitely came to me. It wasn't really anything substantial, to be honest. Maybe if it was just like fear of not knowing what I didn't know. But then I realized that anything out there you can research. If you don't know it, you can read books, you can talk to people. Like nothing's impossible, literally nothing.
That's a great way to put it. That is so true. Do you necessarily think that you need a degree to be in the fashion industry?
No, I don't think so. Unless you're wanting to go into an industry where a specific qualification is legally needed for you to go into that industry, I don't think that you need a degree for anything. And that's a bit of like a strong statement to make. I know that other people would not necessarily agree with that. But I think that you'd be surprised at how much information is out there already in random books that you might find like in a bookstore for like a really, really cheap price that has like golden information, or just like Googling things. Like I learned half the stuff that I started my brand by just Googling things, buying random textbooks from bookstores and talking to people. So I don't think that, not necessarily just with fashion, but with anything, any industry, if you're not legally required to have a degree to enter it, you don't need one. That's what I think.
I definitely agree. We have everything at the palm of our hands, really. We can find anything out nowadays online. You said you didn't go to fashion school, you went to law school.
Yeah.
Even to take that step, because, a lot of people feel like they need to maybe go and have an education, something that they're going to pursue, but that's definitely not the case. And you prove it. Interviewed someone last weekend who also is a lawyer.
Dana.
It's really inspiring for people who don't go to fashion school and they're like, I have this idea, but I don't know if I can do it because I don't have the education for it. But that's not true at all. You can find anything online. So have you struggled with anything so far, being a petite brand dominated in an industry that just wants tall, as we know.
I've been very fortunate so far to be working with people that, although they might not be petite themselves, they're so receptive to the fact that like it's just such an underrepresented community when it comes to clothing. My developer manufacturer in Melbourne, they've been very, very receptive and very good to me, and they've been very good to work with, even though they haven't had much experience with petite brands. I think they've worked with one petite brand in the past, and I'm not sure who they are, but they've been quite good to me. And like no one's really said to me that, oh, like it won't go anywhere because it's an industry where like tall is favored. But I will say that it's costed me a little bit of money because obviously the samples, my first samples actually that I got were, you know, that tall standard. Obviously when you're designing something for petites, it's not just the design itself, it's obviously the proportions of it have to be completely, like you have to start from scratch basically. So yeah, it's just costed me a little bit of money perfecting that. But other than that, it's been pretty good. But yeah, like some people will ask me, oh, like if you, like down the line, people like your designs, would you design for like a regular range? Like would you offer for like taller women? And I'm like, kind of defeats the purpose. I don't think I would do that. But to answer your question, not really that much pushback, which has been pretty fortunate. But I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't even launched yet. I might have some negative pushback that I'm not aware of yet, but so far it's been very good.
That's amazing to hear because yeah, there is some kind of horror stories of manufacturers, anyone in general industry, they just don't get it. I feel like this year there's been so much change in our community, especially really when I first started, we didn't have this community. I feel like we were quite quiet with it. So I started modeling when I was 17, and that was like the harshest I had ever seen the industry. We didn't have any petite models, but it's great to see now that it's really changing. So hopefully that pushback is stopping. I feel like people just weren't really receptive to it, to including petite. It's really great to hear that you've not experienced that yet, and hopefully you don't experience it. Hopefully we're getting past this. See that you are sustainable. Can we talk a little bit about that? How do you participate in sustainability or slow fashion?
Sustainability and slow fashion are quite important to me because I think that investing in quality over quantity is just the best thing to do, honestly. And I know that people like staying on top of trends and things like that, but I'm just quite aware of the effect that fast fashion has on us mentally, and it kind of puts that idea into our heads that unless we're chasing the next fashion trend and unless we have all these things that are thrown at us like on a daily basis, we're not going to be happy. Whereas I don't think that's true. I think that if you invest in timeless quality pieces and you style them differently, you don't know how many outfits you can make out of like one piece. We try to make our designs as versatile and timeless as possible so that, you know, you can wear them, I would hope, for decades. More in the sustainability aspect, I like that we're producing locally. So all of our pieces are made in Melbourne. So obviously, like, the workers have like fair wages, there's ethical working conditions. I'm manufacturing in quantities that suit the exact demand that I'm experiencing at a point in time, and I'm aiming to keep it that way. With the fabrics, I guess like all fashion, whether it's fast fashion or slow fashion, it has its impact on the environment. Doesn't matter really what you're doing, like there will be some sort of impact on the environment, but wherever you can minimize it, I think that's good. With our excess production fabric that's cut, that's unusable at the end of production, I've taken upon myself to reach out to some local art and fashion schools and see if they'd like to be receiving like scrap fabrics for whatever they might want to use it for, and they've been kind enough to have me come in whenever they are there, give that to them. I'm not keen on having a huge carbon footprint, to be honest. Those are some ways that we participate in that, and I'd like to keep it as minimal as possible, my carbon footprint. But yeah, at the end of the day, I can't really avoid it completely because that's just the nature of fashion, but wherever I can to minimize it, I will.
It's amazing to hear because yeah, especially with petite clothing, I feel like we have ASOS, we have all the fast fashion brands that kind of have a little sector of petite stuff. What I've seen, I don't know if you feel the same way. Yeah, they're all fast fashion companies, so it's so great to see you and others, you know, partaking in sustainability. And of course, you can never be fully sustainable. Like you said, it's not the nature of fashion, but you can do all these little things that really do add up if we're all doing them together. I love that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you wish to bring and or spread into the fashion industry?
Just the fact that, you know, fashion is for everyone. It's a beautiful thing. It's such like an admirable art. It's so fun. And it just doesn't make sense for such a large population of women to be missing out on that just because of like some dumb stereotype that the beauty standard is like tall and thin or whatever. We all know by now that like beauty standards are not accurate, never have been, never will be. They're completely subjective. They change over time. I just want people to know that, you know, petite women are here. We're not going anywhere. We deserve to have as much of a variety of different clothes as anyone else. And yeah, fashion should be celebrated by everyone. We should have access to it.
And the thing is, a majority of the world is petite, and I don't think people understand that. So it's we're this random market. There's just a few short people in the world. I mean, the average I believe is 5'4", which is petite.
Yep.
So it's absolutely crazy to me that people have not like woken up yet, and they're like, oh, well, actually, a majority of the people are short. So why this doesn't make sense that we're not giving them any type of option for anything. I completely agree. I think it's absolutely crazy. And like you said, we're not going anywhere. We're here to stay.
Yeah.
So I think if we just all continue to do that, we're really making strides. So that's amazing. And what is something that you wish you knew before you started this journey?
I think at the start, because I was quite young, I was quite overwhelmed with what I didn't know, skills that I didn't have, or things about the industry that I just wasn't aware of. And I think maybe I overwhelmed myself a little bit by what I didn't know. And I think I wasted a little bit of time thinking about what I didn't know instead of actually going and finding out what it was that I didn't know. So I think something I wish I knew back then, which was probably my own fault, I don't think it was anyone else's doing, was just the fact that it's so easy to figure it out. It's so easy to go and like gain all the knowledge, as easy as talking to different people. Like you just need to ask, you just need to put yourself out there. The knowledge is out there. Like just go out and do it. It's not that deep. Like you can figure it out.
It's just the unknown that stops a lot of people. You know, some people have these amazing dreams, but they don't unfortunately put them into action because of the unknown. But you just have to do it. Do you have any advice for designers who want to start out in the industry?
Start small, like if you're a first time designer. For me, I designed 7 pieces and I'm only coming out with 4 like to launch with. And like I wanted multiple different colors. Like I wanted so much. But I realized that like it would probably be a bit too soon for me. Know what your capacity is and start where you know you can handle it. I would say also make friends with other fashion designers. Like it's nice to support one another. I've found it really nice, like making friends with other designers that you've also interviewed and they're absolutely lovely. Like it's nice to have a community. It's nice to support one another. Yeah, I would just say start small. If you know your customer who you're selling to, don't listen to anyone else if they tell you that it's like a dumb idea. Like literally just block it out. I just thought of this now. Don't put something out that you wouldn't buy yourself. You have to be proud in the product. Like don't take any chances. If you wouldn't buy it, don't put it out.
That's really good advice. I agree with that. And so you've not launched yet. When do you launch? What are those feelings like? Are you feeling excited, nervous?
Oh my God, I have no idea how I feel. I feel probably more nervous than excited. But I launch tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I launch tomorrow. I'm feeling more nervous than excited, but I should be excited. Like it's been a long time coming. Maybe I'll feel that tomorrow. I have no idea.
Put in so much time and effort. I think a lot of people don't realize how much time goes into these things. I think people who don't work in the creative industry kind of look at it from the outside and just look at this glamorous industry and they're like, wow, that's just fun. You're just having fun, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not the case at all. I was not happy when I was studying fashion design. Like it was really difficult. And I think people just don't get it's not all fun. It's really time consuming. And especially when you have to hand sew things in some circumstances, things like that, things don't make itself. Like someone has to be behind doing all of that stuff. A lot of time and effort. So I'm sure that you will feel excitement once you do launch because you can see everything right there in front of you that you've done. That should be an exciting moment for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I started my development at the start of 2021. A lot of the delay was to do with the fact that I was still in law school and I was working full time, and like I got married like in 2020. So it was like adjusting to married life. I think there was just a lot going on in life that maybe caused the delay, but I'm glad that I'm launching it now at the age that I am rather than like back then, to be honest. I think I'm more comfortable going ahead with it at this age than I would have been back then.
What does an average day look like for you in preparation for launch?
Web stuff, a lot of social media stuff, just making sure everything materially is perfect and like operating and working on the website. Yeah, it's been a bit chaotic, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a bit chaotic, like getting everything together and making sure everything's ready. But I can anticipate that after I launch, I'll have a bit more of a strategic way of tackling all my tasks. Right now, it's just been making sure my social media presence is as much there as I can have it be, making sure that, you know, my website's working, doing quality checks of everything, stuff like that, and planning for the future, obviously. That's not a very good answer, but hopefully it will be more structured.
I mean, you can't really prepare for it until you're in that very moment. So the fact that you're even doing things leading up to it, it's great in itself. You don't know until you have the orders coming in.
Yeah.
With any modeling agencies yet?
So I worked with one, just make sure that the fit of one of the pieces was right. So it was more like in a fit model capacity. She was quite hard to find because not any modeling agencies went below 5'4". Obviously 5'4" is at the taller end of the petite spectrum. So when I was trying to have this particular item refitted, I had to be very aware that, you know, she was taller, and I would have liked to have someone that was a little bit shorter. That was the only time that I worked with an agency. Other than that, the model that I worked with, she was a friend of a friend, so I was quite lucky to find her. She's right on 5 feet, which was very lucky. I can anticipate that it might be a bit difficult when I start working with modeling agencies, because I want to work with truly petite women, you know, who are like 5'2", 5'1", 5 foot, like around that middle mark, just because, you know, when someone's looking at the products on the website, like it's a reference point, like a true reference point. I can anticipate that I will have to, you know, ask multiple times for a true petite lady and look around more than anyone else would naturally have to. Do you have any tips for me when that time comes?
I do have some tips. So I would suggest maybe even not going through an agency at all, because a lot of the times you'll get a lot of pushback, or you'll get a lot of things that you're not asking for, unfortunately. Yeah, you'll give them all these specifications and they just will say, okay, well, here's this model that we have and they're 5'6". So yeah. I think that just be wary that that's going to happen. I would say start building your own network online, because there's so many petite models who are freelance. That's what I do. I freelance, so I find all my own jobs. I'm like my own agency and model myself. So I book it myself. So I would say definitely start looking on social media. I mean, try out an agency, see what kind of experience you have. Maybe you'll have a different one, but it seems as though they are still not wanting to represent petite models, true petite models. But I would say definitely start building a network of petite models. I would say do it that way, because there's a lot of freelance petite models who would absolutely love that opportunity. But it's always experience, so maybe you'll have a different experience. So I would say see for yourself at first, but that might be what you experience. But where do you see Mona Juliet in 5 years? I know that's a long time away, but do you have any long-term goals?
I won't say specific goals, but I would like the label to be a relatively well-known petite fashion label within the industry for being, you know, on point with providing good quality, well-fitted, truly petite garments that fit petite women properly. I would like to venture into another area of clothing, although I won't say what it is, but I would like to have like a dual kind of model going on where I do workwear and then also something else, and, you know, perfect the craft of both of them. I'd really like to do that. But yeah, I want to be known, I want the label to be known as well-fitted, caters to petites properly, no alterations needed, and that petite women, like, they feel confident wearing them, like in the way that like I would have wanted to feel confident when I was younger, like going into my job interviews, like as a little law student. We deserve to feel confident. We deserve to dress for confidence. We deserve to have that beautiful clothing that other women get to wear to work. We deserve it. So I want the label to be known for that. and I want it to be established and well taken. But I'm also a realist, so I understand that I have to be quite realistic in the steps that I need to take to get there, and I'm open to criticism if that's what it takes.
I think that when people kind of, I don't know if it's so much criticism, but if people do have anything negative to say, I take it as you're doing something good, because it's obviously affected them in some sort of way that they're going to leave some sort of, I don't know how to explain it really. I just feel like, because I get a lot of negative comments, obviously, on such as runway and things like that. I don't care at all. Some people are like,
Good.
how do you deal with it? I'm just like, first off, they don't know me and they feel the need to comment something insane. So I feel like if you just take negative comments with honestly a grain of salt and just say, I must be doing something that so great that people feel the need to say things like this when they don't actually know me. If anyone has anything negative to say, just keep doing what you're doing. You know what you want. You know what you are striving for in the industry. So don't let anything stop you from getting to where you want to go.
Thank you. Yeah, and like, I guess criticism, it goes both ways, right? Like, if it comes from a place of hatred or like intimidation, then obviously don't listen to it. But if it's, because I see criticism also as like free research, it's free market research. If it's something legitimate, like about the clothing or about like the brand, like I'm all ears, obviously. But yeah, if it's something against like the brand mission, then I will not be listening to it whatsoever. Just keep going. But yeah, no, that's wonderful what you're doing for petite models, and I have to commend you and also Taylor and Tiana for everything that you guys are doing. It is amazing, and I'm such a big fan, and I'm really cheering you guys on. It's wonderful.
We appreciate that. And what does fashion mean to you?
Fashion to me is, in a way, it's identity, it's self-expression. It's a way to convey how you're feeling, how you perceive yourself, how you perceive the world. It's such a beautiful tool for self-expression. For me, I think that it's a great way to emulate your sense of like self-confidence, particularly like with workwear. I'm obsessed with workwear, and when I wear office attire, I like choosing pieces that will make me look confident in myself, because then it obviously sends a message to other people that I respect myself, I value myself, and then obviously it might affect the way that they treat me or I even treat myself. So for me personally, it's about self-confidence. It's about embracing your body, embracing, for women, your femininity, even modern femininity, putting a twist on what it means to be feminine. But yeah, mostly it's about identity and self-expression and non-verbal communication in a way.
I love that. That's amazing. So where can everyone find you? Because by the time this is out, you've already launched. So let everyone know where we can find you.
I'm monajuliet.com.au. It's my website. And then at Mona Juliet on all social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram at Mona Juliet Official.
Amazing. And where do you ship to?
We ship worldwide. Don't know if that's the best thing for me to be doing straight off the bat, but we will roll with it. But yeah, worldwide.
I cannot wait to get my hands on those trousers. Once you posted them, I was like, yep, my heart right away. So I'm excited for the launch as well. And I know everyone else will be, because you want to feel, especially going into a business meeting, you want to feel good in what you're wearing. I completely agree with everything you're doing. Congratulations on launch almost.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. I'm glad that you're like excited for the pieces. Do you have anything that you would recommend or that you'd like to see in the future? Or is there any suggestions that you have at this point in time?
Definitely do. So I love the idea of obviously the trousers and the blazers. I find that I can't find coats. That's something that I find is really difficult. I have been on the hunt for a trench coat that fits beautifully, cannot find one. So things like I definitely think are problem areas as well.
I do know that there's another petite brand. They're called petite_project on Instagram. I think they specifically do trench coats. I think they have 2 styles so far. I haven't bought one yet. I'd like to buy one. But if you need one like soon, I know that they do some. And I think like first design was like 100% wool or something. Or like cashmere, something like that. If you're looking for one, I know that they do them, but I will note coats for sure.
Definitely. Thank you for letting me know.